So yeah, I wanted to talk about comic book movies recently for some reason. I was gonna do a Batman ranking, but I watched them I haven't. I gotta rewatch them again, and I've rewatched them like what 3 times. Watched The Dark Knight 3 times, 4 times in the same year last year. I didn't feel like watching it again, and I would rank the DCU movies, but I don't want to watch Wonder Woman 84. I don't want to re-rank the MCU movies because that's like 23 movies. I don't think it deserves my time. But yeah, we're going to be ranking all 8 Spider-Man movies. So let's get into this. Okay, this film isn't as awful as people say. First off, I really like some of the fantastic visuals, and once again, the chemistry between Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield is fantastic. That scene when, spoiler, skip to the time frame on the screen, when Gwen dies, is insanely emotional, and you forget the mess you're watching. But yeah, this movie's got a lot of problems. Paul Giamatti is awful, and it's just like one of the worst wasted villains ever. He just screams like a babbling idiot. Electro, like everyone says, is way too cartoony. You do not need to hear the same flaws over and over again for a movie that everyone knows is not that great. Moving on, I guess. My overall score will be a 56%. Honestly, this movie was a disappointment. I haven't seen many films from 2019, but there have been so many disappointing sequels to me, such as this one and Jumanji 2, and a lot more. Dark Phoenix. There's so many just disappointing sequels to great franchises that we just constantly keep getting, that we got throughout 2019. And maybe that's just me, but I don't know, there's a lot of them. I haven't seen many films for 2019, so I can't really judge that. Anyways, yeah, let's get into like the actual movie, First off, I really love the dream sequences, and I think the Mysterio, the actor who plays him, is really great, and that ending really is actually pretty good. It's interesting to see Peter in a different location, and that's kind of about it for positives. My gosh, this film has a lot wrong with it. First off, the twist was so insanely predictable because everyone knows with the basic knowledge of Spider-Man that Mysterio is a bad guy, and the way they executed it was just so poor. Also, unlike Homecoming, where everyone felt like high schoolers, in this film they just feel like they're from like Disney Channel or something. MJ felt like a forced love interest, and I mean, why wasn't she just in at the beginning? And why don't you just take out the other love interest and replace it with her? And the romance would already been built up, and it would have been a lot better. Yeah, this one's okay, I guess. I'd give it like maybe like a 65, I guess. I don't know. Okay, so I rewatched this film for a MOV ranking, and it's the only one I didn't rewatch for this specific ranking, but yeah, it's really good. First off, Michael Keaton is one of the best villains in any Spider-Man movie, probably my favorite to be honest. It feels like a modernized version of Spider-Man in the MCU, which I also enjoy. It has these just great things. Peter's arc is great, and Michael Keaton is fantastic. But besides that, if I'm being honest with you guys, those are the only really fantastic things I can think of in this film. Tom Holland felt more like a guy playing Peter Parker than Peter, if you know what I mean, which you probably don't. With Tobey Maguire, you point your finger and you say, yeah, that's Spider-Man. And in Homecoming, it feels like someone just playing him, not saying his performance is bad. It just felt less like Peter. Also, a lot of the callback names felt forced, like Flash or MJ. They didn't feel like those characters. It felt like, why did you call them that? But then again, Flash being a social media bully was very interesting and a lot more modern, and I do think it's really good, but it just feels really stylized, and as a result, it's good, not great. I would give it an 83%. Now listen everyone, this movie's great. First off, this film is so insanely stylized, the action is so insanely over the top and fun. Raimi gave it his all with the camera work, and it shows. Also, you can say what you want, but I love Emo Peter. He's so fun to watch. That dance scene is iconic and hilarious. And also that scene when he's just like dancing in the bar. I mean, come on. The soundtrack also is amazing. If you just listen to it closely, you just completely fall in love with it. In a way, also the relationship and drama with Peter and MJ in an odd way feels kind of real. I mean, it's played out in a really cheesy way, but it feels like Sam Raimi's going for drama in a certain aspect. I absolutely love this movie. I would give it a 95%. I think I'll put the actual on the screen, but yeah. This might be the least stylized out of the Raimi trilogy, but it definitely does have a lot of it. Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, in my eyes, he just has that vibe, and it definitely is just the most evident here. Harry Osborn also is insanely cheesy and fun. This movie is just a film that feels like an 80s classic. My overall score will be a 93%. Yes, I'm discussing all 3 Raimi movies in a row. For a lot of people, this is the best of the Raimi trilogy, and many say it's the best Spider-Man movie, and I understand why. First off, once again, it's perfectly stylized, but also this film is an amazing sequel as Peter struggles with balancing being Spider-Man and his normal life, which is oddly compelling in a sense. It makes it feel cheesy, but also makes Peter Parker somehow feel more relatable. Maybe I'm dissecting it too much, but that's what I got. Also, Doc Ock is a fantastic villain. He was one of the first Spider-Man villains to be taken over by their own creation, and it's handled really well. This movie is great, guys, and everyone knows it. Oh wait, maybe not everyone, but yeah, it's great anyways. I'd give it a 95%. Well, chances are you know what my number 1 is if you kept track of this, or you just know the Spider-Man movies by heart, but yeah, please let me explain. I love this film like everyone else, okay, and I will say I will prove it to you. I mean, that animation is stunning. It is definitely a comic book brought to life, and it's one of the best looking films I've ever seen. This is just a love letter to Spider-Man fans, and for that I do completely adore it. In fact, it gave me hope for animation, like I said in my video essay a while ago. I also think Kingpin is an underrated villain. Come on, I don't see why people hate him. He has a very compelling backstory, and it works for the film. But that doesn't mean I don't have problems with it. First off, there are definitely some wasted characters. Penny felt unnecessary, and added really nothing to the dynamic, except a dumb emotional scene that makes no sense. Also, I hate Kingpin's character design. I love the villain, but he looks like a sumo wrestler. Also, another thing is Peter has an emotional death. It just felt jarring because of the fact that we never really built with this character. We weren't really connected to this one from this dimension. We were connected to the other one, and that's kind of how the emotional scene went. I know I explained that I really loved it in the video, so the more I process it, I'm like, yeah, this wasn't as great as I thought. Another thing I wasn't really a big fan of is there's all these great iconic villains, like you have Scorpion, Doc Ock, and such, where, honestly, they could have maybe been better than Kingpin. Honestly, I'd probably be more interested in seeing these characters than Kingpin as a whole, because he's a really good villain, I really like him, but there's all these villains that were just such wastes of potential, to be honest. But yeah, I still do really love this movie, but I like my number 1 a bit more. Maybe this one's technically the best, but my number 1's my favorite. I know every human being is angry at me right now, even the people that like this movie, but trust me, I can explain. Now, I've always preferred my comic book films to be more grounded, even if I love movies such as Scott Pilgrim, and this one is one of the more grounded ones. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone's chemistry is outstanding. They have this just great relationship that's just completely built, mainly because of just the fact that apparently they were dating on set, which honestly makes a lot of sense the more I think about it, and Mark Webb's fantastic script. Also, in my eyes, Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. He's really the only one that's a mark with a mouth, and he's actually genuinely funny. It focuses a lot more about the police chasing after Spider-Man because, well, he is still a vigilante. They aren't just going to let him do whatever he wants. That would just make no sense. The origin story progresses in a very well-done way. To be honest, the action is also really great and entertaining. Does it have its flaws? Sure, but at the end of the day, I'm not afraid of calling this my favorite Spider-Man and Marvel film. I will give this movie a 97%. I know practically everyone that just watched this video gave it a dislike, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't add to the algorithms or anything. If anything, thank you guys for that. Watch for the views and the watch time, I guess. Thank you, people that don't respect my opinion. But yeah, anyways, that is the video. Also, I have a Discord, a Letterboxd, and Instagram, a Discord server, where you guys can interact with me. I'm pretty frequently active on it sometimes. Also, I have a Letterboxd where I review every movie I basically see, so if you want to know a lot more about films I watch, just go follow me in there, and you will get a lot more perspective on other films that I just watch randomly. And my Instagram, I don't post that much on there, but yeah, go follow it anyways if you want to. I can't force you. But yeah, that is the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.